I think I am Nick Shell, therefore I am Nick Shell. Here's what I was thinking about. I just took a shower, and while I was in the shower, don't we have these epiphanies while we're in the shower for no apparent reason? And I was thinking, there's definitely some irony. I know I've pointed out before, but we need to talk more about it. The fact that men who are not necessarily balding are fearing balding. You would, because at first you would think, okay, well, if a guy is young and balding, then yeah, he has a reason to fear it because it's the unknown and all these reasons why he would fear it. But the guy who isn't actually balding and he's fearing something that doesn't even actually apply to him, I think there's definitely some irony in that. And for me to try to unpack that in this video, I think we're going back about 7 or 8 years when I was 30 and some of my diffuse thinning was starting to show, and I think I was going from a Norwood 2 to a Norwood 2.5 at that point. And there was some older guys, they were like at least 12 years older than me, and they were pointing out that my hairline was starting to go up. I guess my hair was shorter, so it showed off more, and they were able to have short hair and no diffuse thinning. So, because for me, I can't have short hair without it showing my diffuse thinning. That's why I either buzz it off or I keep it longer. And as they were pointing that off, one of them even said, and this guy has like maybe a Norwood 1, and he said, and of course backing up my theory, he can't grow a beard. That's a Nick Shell trademark. I keep saying it's something that's that predictable. If you can't grow a beard or have a weak beard, you're gonna be the guy that most likely doesn't lose his hair. That is a pattern. That means it's true most of the time, not all the time. So don't tell me about your cousin, your dad. I don't need to hear that. It's a pattern, it's a generalization, and we can accept that. Moving on, but one of these guys who was in his 40s at this point and no hair loss at all, he had said, well, even if I did lose my hair, I wouldn't care. And I believe him. I still believe him all these years later. But why is that? Why is it that there's certain guys, whether they're balding or not, that just don't care about it? Like, I think we can understand for me why I can so easily accept why I don't fear going bald. Many reasons, just off the top of my head, because I have many times buzzed it all off, and most of you agree I look better without hair anyway. I feel more confident, actually. Not that I'm confident deficient, but I don't know. I like myself better the way I look when I have no hair. You know, granted my age, I'm pushing 40. I've already married, have kids. I've already got an established life. I'm not worried about something so petty as hair loss at that point in my life. That's just a couple reasons off the top of my head. There's so many more. But ultimately, we just got to point out this irony, okay? I mean, even like this with these two windows here, okay? So on one side, we have the people watching this channel who actually aren't losing their hair. They're freaking out about it, but they're not. They've got some temples receding going on. They may have a Norwood 2 starting to show up, but you know, when you're 18, 19, 20, that's still not really a big deal because you could stay that way the rest of your life. There's no indication that a Norwood 1 or even 2 means you're going to go bald. But these same guys, even though they're not actually balding, they just simply have what I guess we could even arguably call a maturing hairline. They're watching my channel every day. They're watching all my videos. And on top of that, they're still fearing that they're going to lose their hair. Over in this category, we have the people who are noticeably losing their hair, Norwood 3, or diffuse thinning or beyond. And they watch my channel just because I still help them kind of reinforce what they already know, that their identity is not based on their hair. It's based on being skilled, being confident, being funny, being friendly, being helpful. I've made many videos about the things we're actually judged from other people when hair is not actually one of them. But here these guys are, they're actually losing their hair. They're actually bald or balding, and they're not worried about it. Or there's other guys that have a perfect head of hair, but they're not worried about it either. There's definitely irony in that, in all of these little categories of people who watch my channel, that you can fall into any of those. You can be balding and it freak you out and you're obsessed about it in a bad way, or you can be balding and it not bother you, like technically me, but then some of you would argue that I'm actually balding. Then we've got the people who are not balding and they're not worried about losing their hair, and then we've got the ones who aren't balding and they are worried about it. But isn't that funny that the thing that really makes this a whole relevant conversation is, out of all these categories, is the people who are bothered by the hair loss. Because hair loss doesn't automatically mean you're going to be bothered by it. It doesn't. It's the same thing like with not being tall. I'm not tall, I'm not that short, I'm 5'9", but that's not tall. I'm not worried about it, but I'm sure there's other guys that are 5'9", and it really bothers them. They want so badly to be 5'11" or 6 foot, and they get leg extension surgery, so now suddenly they're 6 foot tall, or whatever it is. That's the thing. Whatever perceived imperfections about us physically, we can make a whole deal about it and therefore put ourselves in the back corner over this thing. I mean, anything. I mean, have you really looked at me up close? My point is how unsymmetrical my face is. My nose, I apparently got broken when I was in 5th and 6th grade playing basketball, and I got hit on the nose. I didn't know it was broken. That's my assumption, because I don't recognize my nose being crooked until I was like in 8th grade. So sometime in that time. But my nose is definitely not symmetrical. And then even if it was, my teeth don't match up. I mean, yes, it's petty, and yes, it's stupid. But my point is, people can take any kind of imperfection and make a big deal about it. And imagine if we were girls. Man, if anybody is insecure about their appearance, it's girls, right? I mean, and I hate to say that, but when you find a girl who is actually confident in her appearance, that's a very attractive trait in itself. My wife, for example, I mean, granted, I know that all females have some kind of insecurities about their appearance, but she's always been confident, and I've always liked that about her. And I've always been attracted to confident girls to begin with, and explicitly not attracted to girls who are not confident. So if I can say that as a guy, imagine what girls would say about guys, in that she doesn't care that the guy is starting to lose his hair, but if his behavior and psychology changes negatively because of it, why would she want to be with a guy like that? To me, it's that obvious. So there you go. There's your little motivational speaking for the day. And I want you to sort that out. I want you to put yourself in a category. And ultimately, once you do, figure out if you are one of those people that hair loss bothers you, why? And keep watching my videos, because that's what this channel is actually about. I will never save you from losing your hair. I will never say, oh, you didn't know the secret to keeping your hair? Well, why didn't you say something sooner? That's never going to be what I do. I'm only going to help focus on the thing that actually matters, and helping you become one of those people who the fear of hair loss does not exist. You don't worry about hair loss, whether you are balding or whether you are not. Because there will be men in their 60s and 70s that still have hair, but they still fear losing hair. Or that did go bald, but they still fear that people don't like them because they've lost their hair, lose their hair. I just have to say, I feel so liberated. I feel so free of a human being that that's not something I worry about. It goes back to what Nick Shell believes, and that is, why worry about things you can't control? And, well, Nick, you can control hair loss. You can get a hair transplant. You can get Propecia. Yeah, you can, but that's high maintenance, and Nick Shell is low maintenance. I'm all about low maintenance, which, again, one of the many reasons I was attracted to my wife, and still am, is she's a low maintenance woman, and I like that. I'm a low maintenance guy. She's a low maintenance girl. That's one of the many reasons we work, and we've been married for 10 years, and I just wouldn't want to be a high maintenance guy, and I wouldn't want to be a girl who was married to a high maintenance guy. So I think it's very important that I embrace this part of my identity, that I am low maintenance. So going back to the whole point of the title of this video, you know, ultimately, no matter how much you have of your hair, that's irrelevant to very black and white, cut and dry question, but will you be bothered by hair loss? Whether or not it happens, will you carry that unnecessary burden with you for your entire life? And that's ultimately the psychology of what this is actually about. And I think too, I could even turn this back to you and say, are you a low maintenance person? Maxwell Smart had mentioned in another video that I'm all about low maintenance, and I am. Either buzz cut or keep it long, nothing in between. I don't want to have to think about styling my hair and getting a certain kind of cut and you know, every couple of weeks get a new cut. Nope, I'm all about low maintenance. So I think that reveals a lot of it. how much confirmation do you need about your appearance and therefore your identity? And it goes back to what I will always remind you about your phone and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and whatever new thing will be cool in 5 years. As long as you're doing this scrolling, that's basically saying, I don't have an identity. I need other people to tell me that I'm cool, funny, attractive, smart, etc. That's what this means. When I see people doing this, they're scrolling for confirmation, especially younger people, because they do it even more. Nick Shell doesn't need anyone to tell him that he's cool, funny, smart, because you know what? Maybe I'm not, and I'm okay with that. Just like I made a video saying, I don't see myself as a good person, because that's not a part of my identity. I don't need people to see me as a good person. I don't believe in good people, and I don't believe in bad people. I believe in people. Aside from religion and law, there's no way to define what morality is. It's so relative. There's your psychology for today. You're welcome. I am Nick Shell. Tomorrow, I will also be Nick Shell, but your comments belong right here.